Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this road closure hearing for the East Street Road. I'd just like to introduce our panel, and to my left we have Councillor Lane Braham, and to my right we have Councillor Diane Rawlinson and myself, Deputy Mayor Neil Brown. So the purpose of this hearing is to consider the two road closure applications for two separate events, both on the same day, same time. This is a public hearing and is being recorded and live streamed, and we are live now. If the red light up there tells you that it is on, and it started about a minute ago, so that's why we were sticking right to time for the start. So we have some rules. There can be no interaction between the two applicants during the hearing, and the panel will hear only from the two speakers, or the two, and we also have Max Court, who is assisting Bob McDonald for the submission. Members of the public will not be able to speak. First of all, we'll hear from Bob McDonald and Max Court on behalf of the Boulevard Day Group, followed by questions that the panel may have for the two submitters. We will then hear from the other applicant, Carol Johns, followed by any questions the panel may have for Ms Johns. The hearing will then be adjourned and the panel will deliberate in private. The panel's decision will be publicly released within a few days. This hearing is unprecedented because we've never before had two road closures on the same day at the same time. And I think we know, or we don't know, but we're here to sort out a road closure. There's two events competing for one road, and the parties can't work together, I don't think. So one's going to win and one's going to lose, and we'll make that decision within the next few days. So Bob, and Max, could I invite you to, we have your submission here, but no one else will have seen it, so if you'd like to go through it, read it, or add more or less if you wish. The floor is yours, Bob.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Brown. Yes, well, I'll go through it. There's been quite a bit of changes over the time. So firstly, I'd like to thank you today for your time and this difficult situation that has arisen, and also put in apologies for Sue and Don Cooper, who can't make it today as they're in Australia catching up with their family. I'll just give you a little bit of background on Boulevard Day. Boulevard Day was started 43 years ago by Russell Anstice. I'm happy to say is here today to support our group, and he finds this whole affair very upsetting. But he's 100% behind our group running Boulevard Day, and he stated this in a letter that you've all got in the information pack. And it's fair to say that Sue and I and the rest of the Boulevard Day group are also very upset. This is the fourth year that we've had to justify ourselves to Carol Johns. From threats of being taken to the police on serious fraud charges, going to the IRD, talking to the Incorporated Society, threats of defamatory letters being put in the local papers, which we had to go to our lawyer to get her to stop doing so. And now here we are in front of this hearing. This has to end here so we can get on and run Boulevard Day. Here are some numbers on just what we put back into the community. We had 17 charities last year, which is similar to other years, that pay nothing. Service groups pay half price, which the money they make on the day then go back into the community. And local business people pay 20% less. The money made on the day is hard to estimate, but the savings on this group alone on sites alone is $4,000. And the money generated and going back in the community will be in the tens of thousands. So we feel as a group we put a lot of time and hard work into making this day a success, and should not have to put up with criticism year on year by someone only wanting to take over the event herself and sabotage Boulevard Day on personal vendetta against Sue, me and our group. When the Ashburton Business Association, the ABA, was being wound up, Sue and I didn't want to lose Boulevard Day. So along with other former members, Don Cooper, Max Court, Stuart and Early Cross and myself, we set up a group to run Boulevard Day and keep the tradition going, which is what we've been doing for the last 4 years. We put a proposal to the ABA meeting to this end, and it was overwhelmingly supported by the meeting. We even received a grant to set up the new group from the ABA funds. We have monthly catch-ups and keep minutes where appropriate. Over the years we've been running Boulevard Day, we've strived to lift the standard of the day and get more local support, even to the fact that we have a local band playing on the day. And to this end, we're very happy with it, but we still tweak it as we're going forward. With what has been happening this year, we've been out gauging support from the retail businesses in town that come out on Boulevard Day. You will see these in the pack. Also in the pack, you'll see letters of support from Russell Anstis, Alice Churchsky of the Mid-Canterbury Children's Day Group, and Tony Todd. Tony was also one of the original members of the Boulevard Day group when it was set up, and also he's never missed one in all the years it's been running. Also in this pack you'll find other information on how we run Boulevard Day, from the street plan to our volunteers induction plan, where we advertise the event, and newspaper articles from past years. So it's fair to say most people think we're doing a good job. Here are some of the statistics from the 2018 Boulevard Day. Total number of sites is 107, which are car parks and also various sites up and down the street. These are made up of 57 local sites, so over 50% Mid-Canterbury people, and a large number of these are service clubs. And 30% of these are local charities which don't pay at all, which is our donation back to the community. So we're trying very hard to make it an Ashburton District Day. On the day, from 6 a.m, we have 8 to 9 people helping, all identified with fluoro vests, all in contact with handheld radios to make the setup easy and stress-free for all involved. This event has grown over the years, and we feel we need a good crew behind us to make the day run effortlessly. Sue and I are on the street all day talking to people and making sure everything is on track. Our advertising to promote the event is extensive, as you can see in the pack. So all in all, we try very hard to make the day a success for all, and we thoroughly enjoy catching up with the store holders and everyone else. As you know, we're very passionate about the Ashburton CBD and making it the best it can be, and we would support any day that will help and promote our town. But don't sabotage Boulevard Day, which is a very successful and long-running event. There are over 300 days in a year that can be made into another event. Pick one, put in the hard work, and make that a success, but not at the expense of Boulevard Day. And to finish, not awarding our group the street closure, you're setting a precedent for anyone to steal a successful event just by applying for the road closure first. In the words of a storeholder that rang Sue, anyone can close a road, but not everyone can run a successful event. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Max, did you want to add anything?
I would like to add. Like most public events, there's no ownership papers or legal documents drawn up to establish ownership. It is taken as acknowledged ownership by the people who run the event. This is where the social principles come in. To attack and hijack the operation of this event on the grounds that Media and Entertainment, the radio station that Carol John represents, highlights how low they lack moral and ethical and social etiquette. The principles that serve as a foundation for the moral fibre of our society is getting eroded here if you allow her this event or to close the road. And I'll tell you why. There's integrity. There's social integrity. There's nothing to stop this Media and Entertainment going out to the Ashburton Motorhome Show and taking it off the lines. It doesn't stop a person going into the Ashburton Domain and picking a flower because they have a right to it, because they think they own it. This has got to stop here today. And it is the morals, it is the honesty, it's the principles, it's the righteousness, it's the integrity that is affected here. And you've got to show integrity, you've got to show decency and moral standards. Thank you.
And we will make a decision today, so we won't make the decision today, but there will be a decision coming out of today, one way or the other. And then after that, policy will be developed in council for, if this happens again, if 2 roads are wanted to be closed on the same day. So we will develop policy out of this, because it is the first time it's happened here. But Diane or Lane, any questions, please, of the submitters?
Yes, everyone can have a question. just going through it, it started off as the Ashburton Retailers, then it became the Ashburton Business Association. So now it's run by exactly what? Is it still the business association? Is it a small group of volunteers? Is it paid? What is it?
Yeah.
Just for my own sake, to be
It's
honest.
a second. Like, so basically, the Ashburton Business Association wound up, and like so, we were pretty upset at the time when it wound up. But anyway, so we didn't want to see Boulevard Days disappear, so we simply done exactly what we said we do. We set up a group of people that would run Boulevard Day. Like so, Carol seems to think there's a huge amount of money in it, which there's not. We get reimbursed for our time, Sue and me, but there's not. It certainly would be better flipping burgers at McDonald's. It's not a money-making venture. It's just reimbursing us for their time we have to put in staff. But there's no formal group, because when we started it up, we'd just finished winding up the business association, so there was some pretty raw wounds or raw feelings there. So the last thing we want to do is sit around and set up another group. And quite frankly, it's just one event a year. It's not as if it's a whole. If you're doing a lot more, it might be different, but there's just not worth going through the hoops.
Ask. So most of them are volunteers and have businesses in this town.
Yep,
Is that correct?
they all are. Like so there's Sue and me, Max and Stuart and Nearly Cross. So there's this original people that started off like 4 years ago. So nothing's changed. We get the people on the day. We get my son and his partner comes along, gives us a hand, and then sometimes Stuart's son, and then I've had a mate of mine, because different years people can't make it. So yeah.
Diane, any questions?
Thank you. Yes, I've got two questions. Firstly, Bob, just do you constantly review the day and its outcomes at the end of each year and look forward to how you can do it?
Yep, absolutely.
Better?
Yep, absolutely. Like we had plans of doing something different this year, but of course we haven't even looked at it yet. Like we haven't even usually we've got the plan done by now, but there's really been no point. It's all up in the air. So every year we try to, but you are pretty restricted for what you can do, because like you've only got the restricted area and that there. So, and the health and safety is a lot harder now. Like so, we thought about like some machinery and stuff like that, but we're just working our way through it. But yeah, but we still get really good feedback from the store holders and the community, and the weather's been a bit stink, to be fair. We've had a few. We're looking forward to a nice day. Yeah.
Thank you. And my second question, if I may, was in your presentation you referred to you received a grant initially to set up a new group. So
Yep.
are you happy to reveal how much the grant
Yeah,
was?
yeah, it was $2,500. So that money we bought a computer, iPad laptop, iPad computer, and then most of it went to advertising. Yeah, we were supposed to get a heap of bookwork and that for it, but we got nothing, so we had to start from scratch anyway. But Sue and me, I think I said in your submission there'd been that many different copies. We've been involved for over 30 years, so we'd pretty much had the fair idea how to run it anyway, and like so it was just the context was pretty hard, but we managed to get that started. So, but most of that money went into the advertising.
Thank you.
I just have one question. I think you mentioned that the East Street Bazaar would not be as successful as yours. Could you tell me why would it not be successful as yours?
Well, it's hard to say not be successful, because it's just basically pinching Boulevard Day. So most people that would come along would just assume it's Boulevard Day. They wouldn't even register that it was another event, because it's always been, for 43 years, it's been on South Canterbury Anniversary Day. So I looked at Carol sent out emails and that, and I looked at some of the ideas she had, and I couldn't see how they would work. It was just jamming too many people in there. But it would be a success simply because it's nothing new. It's just taking over the day that's already people are going to turn up anyway, like so. So yeah. But I don't think she would need. It's so hard to run now. Like on any market day, it's like Star Wars between 6:30 and 8 o'clock. There's just everything happening. So how we run it, we have people on every block. So as soon as someone arrives, they know where they're going. Like you can't have people driving up and down the street looking for their site. So because it's virtually for an hour and a half. It's just that everyone's arrived and everyone's setting up. Like you guys have, Lean's been out to that. You know, it's like there's people going everywhere. So you do need people on the ground. So yeah.
So what you're saying is both groups could be successful in running it?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Lane?
Question. You just mentioned 30 years. Well, I'm slightly over 40. Let's leave it there. I'm still not feeling old and I'm still quite happy. But after 30 years doing an event, if you feeling you're getting tired, or you still got enough passion to push
Yeah.
this through to the next level?
Yeah, no, we're still really keen. Like, so every year it's a bit different than that there, and it's only once a year. Like, it's not that. And when I say 30 years involvement, like some years we've had event coordinators, other years haven't. It's been involved with the it was in the retailers that I first got involved with Terry Thompson, and so we're just helping out on the day, just sort of like so helping people jockey around and that there. I wasn't always involved with setting up the street plan and that, but had been involved with it. So yeah, but yeah, no, we're still. Yeah. When we get sick of it, we'll pass it on, but we're not there yet.
Another question from me is, have you thought of having it on another day, or has this day got to be the day?
I think, can I just ask Russell a question? Because I'm sure they tried it one other year and it wasn't very successful, was it, Russell? Did you try it on another day?
We tried it originally. The second year it was not on anniversary day, and we went straight back to anniversary day because we wanted to lock it in. If you have an event once a year and it's on that particular day, people know. If you change those dates, people don't.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
thanks.
yeah, so pretty much it's always been on that day. The only day I can remember it was postponed because it was really heavy rain, and we postponed it when Terry Thompson was there. Postponed it to the next day and it snowed. So.
Any further questions, councillors? No. Thank you, Bob and Max, for your submission. Thank you for that. Next up will be Carol Johns. And Carol, if you'd like to present your information to us, please. So we have a letter you've written, so it may pay to read it, because some of the second half that we've only just received not long ago. So if you read it, then it'll, the first part we've read of your letter, but the second half we've only briefly read. Yes, please, yes.
Okay, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here today. First of all, there's one thing I really want to make very clear here. This application has nothing to do with NZME. And I want that made very clear to the media. This has nothing to do with my job. I don't want that in the media. It is not an NZME promotion. Right, you'll be aware Boulevard Day has been an iconic Ashburton event for many years and was up until 2015 run by a non-profit groups, lastly the Ashburton Business Association. And over these years, the day itself has continued along the same format and really hasn't kept up with the changing face of Ashburton retail, especially those on East Street. Back in the day, most shops on East Street were run by local managers who could join in the day and move sales stock at great prices for the shoppers. I remember Terry Thompson auctioning shoes outside Hannah's. But today's East Street has changed and now has a large number of non-retail businesses and businesses owned by corporate owners that don't get to participate in the day. My plan is to have stalls along the green and then from the centre line back, leaving the retailer shops clear so visitors on the day can enter these stores with ease. On the day, they will be welcome to participate at no cost to them and by having in-store specials. And if they don't want to use the frontage, they're welcome to invite groups or organisations to fundraise outside their business, free of charge. I would love to see heaps of local groups doing toffee apples, cheese rolls and other fundraisers to bring back the atmosphere. I intend to do extensive advertising to Timaru and Christchurch and also send letters to Timaru and Christchurch RSAs, elderly care facilities and other groups looking for a day out. I will start a Facebook page as I do for Waitangi on East so everyone knows exactly what is happening on the day and the stall holders that will be selling so shoppers can plan ahead that are on a limited time. Attached you'll see my support from the East Street business managers and owners. I only approached East Street businesses as they are the main ones affected by the day directly and they love my ideas. I did explain fully my intentions and the reasons why, and most of them hadn't seen anyone from the event for years, so were pleased to be included. I would like to also work with the Rotary Club, as I do with Multicultural Bite, and cross-promote both events. Also highlight what's on at the art gallery, so it's a real day out. I'm not opposed to keeping the Boulevard Day name, if this is what is wanted, with heaps of colour, buntings on stools, buskers in each block for ambience, just some of my ideas. I am reducing the price of the stools the stall holders have agreed to donate, and for this, stall holders have agreed to donate an item from their stall for a giant raffle to be drawn on the card. What a draw card that'll be. In 2014, the Ashburton Business Association wound up, and under the Constitution, any assets of the ABA had to go exclusively to a charitable entity or entities. You will see a letter signed by Bob McDonald to the ABA requesting Boulevard Day to be run by the Ashburton Retailers Group. I was one of the people who voted against this, and it wasn't unanimous. And as the group was not set up, but the vote passed, and on proof of a bank account, a cheque was $2,500 was given to Bob, money which it could have gone to the St John with other monies from the wind-up. Over the past 4 years, I have approached Bob and Sue on numerous occasions, so I don't deny any of that. Re-existence of an Ashburton Retailers Group, and I've never really got anywhere with them. They have stated they run it themselves and do pay themselves. They say there is no profit and pay themselves less than $5 an hour. So in my estimation, they spend $1,000 each, 1,000 hours each, which equates to 25 weeks each organising events with a structure already in place. I would expect there to have been at least $30,000 to $40,000 profits over the last 4 years, and I was hoping to have the printout from 2014, from when I ran it for the ABA, but I couldn't find it, so I'm sorry about that. Yeah, they do very little advertising, so I don't know what advertising they've given you. They set up a Facebook page in 2015, which you've got screenshots of, and it's never been used since then. I feel the day needs reinvention, a fresh purpose and enthusiasm. Suggestions to improve it, some very worthy of consideration, have completely fallen on deaf ears. I care deeply about this town and know it deserves better. That's why I've stepped up and lodged this street closure. My motives are sound and genuine. Ask anyone around this town. I have a reputation for making things happen and getting things done, as I have shown with the Ashburton Santa Parade. I also run Waitangi on East, and have this year have stepped up to run the Spray Marks Wheels Reats Parade when no one else was willing to do it. As this day is supposed to not only encourage visitors to Ashburton for the day, but the profit used for the good of Ashburton, I intend just to do that. I took over the Santa Parade from the ABA, and the ABA had funded this, so I had to find a sponsor, and the Ashburton District Council pay the road closure. I have grown the parade to the stage. I've outgrown my 20-foot container, and each year I add more, and this year will be no exception. There's something big coming. I don't really want to say what it is, but it has to be paid for. I intend to use the money, the profit, and there is profit from Boulevard Day, to go back into community events. But this year I'd like to use it for the Santa Parade. And I'd like to secure it to continue running the Santa Parade.
Thank you, Carol. That's the letter that you wrote in support of your submission. Is there anything else you wish to add?
No. Just the fact I want to make it very sure that this has nothing to do with my work.
Well, you've stated that, and
Yeah.
we've got that under control. There's a differentiation there. Thanks for that. Councillors, questions? Lane.
Yes, let me start again. Thank you, Carol. My main question was, as soon as I got roped into this, why the same day? If you're that, no, if I can just finish this one. Yeah. If you think it's that good what you're going to do, why couldn't you do it on another day? So we've got 2 days in a year.
Because Boulevard Day belongs to the community, and it should never have gone to a non-profit group in the first place. Boulevard Day was set up by the Ashburton retailers for the benefit of the Ashburton retailers and the benefit of Ashburton, and that's not happening.
Thank you, Carol. Just a question, so how would you feel if another group came in over the top of you and tried to take your date for the Christmas parade? So the same thing in reverse to what's happening in this
Someone wants to
situation.
take over the Christmas parade, they're very welcome, because I certainly don't get paid to do that.
Thank you. And my second...
And no one wanted to do it in the first place, so that's the only reason I am doing it.
My second question was that if you do succeed with your application, what do you hope to achieve in a way that's different to what people experience now? And I know some of it you've covered in here, but...
Just letting people know what's actually happening on the day. Like, our social media now is huge. And, like, you've got no social media. There's nothing on Facebook to say what stores are going to be up the street, what they're selling. A lot of the social media feedback I've even seen in the last few days is that people of Ashburton have actually stopped coming to Boulevard Day because they think it's the same old stuff. They don't realise the quality of stalls that turn up to these events. They've got no idea what retailers are having specials on the day. And social media is the way people, like, get someone, take the community to take ownership back of coming to Boulevard Day and supporting the day itself. And I think having, like, more of the things like toffee apples and, you know, people doing fundraisers, and this is another thing on social media, you know, where's all that gone? You know, and, you know, you're up the street on Boulevard Day, you know, you take your child home a toffee apple, but they've probably never seen one. This is what this day should all be about.
Thank you.
Just follow on from that, Carol. Have you got any numbers to show that the numbers are declining for Boulevard Day as it is?
As it is,
Yes.
no.
Elaine.
Yeah, just one other question to clear up something I don't understand. I thought it was always a business run, by the businesses of this town, event. You call it a community event, but it started by the business in town, the businesses in town, is that
Yes.
correct? So, and it's still been run that way in the moment, is that correct?
It was run by the Ashburton retailers,
Yes.
and then the profit from it was put back in to run the Ashburton Retailers Group. When the Business Association run it, the profit was then put back into the Business Association, which then also run the Santa Parade. So the profits that come from that were always put back into a community, you know, into business. Like the Business Association run nights for businesses to come along to, had, you know, speakers and, so, I just want the money from Boulevard Day profit to go back into the community where it should be.
But could it be an option with the way it's been running now?
Well, it
Or-
could be, but where's the money been going for the last 4 years?
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
have that insight.
That's why. Because there hasn't been a proper non-profit group set up as there should have been.
Thank you.
No further questions? Carol, have you anything further you wish to add?
No.
Okay. Well, we're going to adjourn then, and I'm going to thank you, Carol, Bob and Max, for presenting your submission here today, answering all our questions, clarifying information for us. We'll adjourn the meeting now, and we will meet soon and decide an outcome, and that will be released in a few days' time, their decision. So thank you all for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.